And we're still waiting for a bunch, but we'll get going here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can edit if there's too much waiting at the beginning. So
Okay,
cool.
that's good.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you. All right, that was heavy. Um, so, uh, week 3 of 4. This has been an interesting journey. Um, Eastern Kentucky music is a really, really strong, rich thing. It's not unlike the Round Peak music that we worked on in a previous session that somewhere you were at. But I guess for me, somebody gave me a cassette in 1976 of a whole bunch of Library of Congress material, and it was almost all the fiddlers that Alan Lomax visited in his big sweep through Kentucky in '37, and included people like uh, Bill Stepp, William Hamilton Stepp, and Boyd Asher, and Luther Strong. And I know these are just names, but they kind of set the groundwork for my interest in Eastern Kentucky music. And I before we came online, I just started to make a list of some of the fiddlers that I've listened to, and and it just keeps getting longer and longer. Um, it bugs me that there are no women on this list, and every time I go to go back into historical recordings, I realize that women were just not that well documented, or uh, I kind of refuse to believe that there were so many less female fiddlers than there were male fiddlers. That's a whole nother conversation, because I might have mentioned to you or some of the other folks that I work with that at Berkeley, where I teach, more than half of my students are female, and they're killing it on the fiddle, and that makes me really happy. Anybody that wants to play this instrument should play it, and maybe the lack of it in the past has something to do culturally. I really don't know, but anyway, it's kind of a preemptive apology for all the people whose recordings I'm going to play you, because they're all guys. So there, I said that. Um, yeah, uh, this music, when you think of one particular part of the country, you think, well, a lot of so much of this is going to sound kind of the same, but it doesn't, and way less so in this part of the country than, say, places like Round Peak, North Carolina, where the style is really strong and has a really distinctive rhythmic kind of component. Um, but this there's a lot of depth and breadth to how people played, and there was a lot more influence, I think, there once you listen through it. And I'm going to play you just a few short clips of things just to give you an idea. But I think there's more influence on from the pop music of the day, and I always think back of a story that the guitar player Paul Sutphin from Surrey County, North Carolina, used to tell. I asked him one time, and I said, "How is it that you don't play any of the repertoire?" Uh, Somebody told me that you couldn't get the Grand Ole Opry radio signal over the mountains, and is that why we don't hear that kind of influence in your music? And he said, no. He says, we got that stuff all the time. He says, we just didn't like that stuff. They had their own kind of bent on this, but not so much in Kentucky music. And so you hear a lot of kind of Tin Pan Alley and James P. Johnson, ragtime type influence, and a lot of the stuff that was a lot of the tunes were written tunes, that they just introduced. But anyway, if it's okay, I'd just like to start by just playing you. I dialed up a few recordings and put them in a little playlist here. And let me make sure that I'm shared my audio properly with you there. Um, can you all hear me okay? Start off. Sounds good. No dropouts, no weird stuff yet. Let me know. And I like to say at the beginning of every class, I mean, please keep your mics muted, but if you have anything at all to say, any questions to ask, anything, just please barge in, because the best workshops are ones that are a conversation. You know, I'm still wrapping myself around the fact that I can be with all of you in my room and you're not here. So please communicate. And if you don't have your, I mean, it's a personal choice. If you want to be seen, turn your video on. I can see about half of you. So, okay. Um, start with I'll start with something that might be familiar, and I dedicate this to the all the classical violinists in the house. This is Bill Stepp. He was a fantastic fiddler and one of the main people that Lomax captured in '37. Playing a tune that you will recognize for various reasons, but there'll be a quiz at the end. Listen to this.
This is the bony part. That's the bony part.
So you know that's Bonaparte's Retreat, which Aaron Copland actually was looking for uh, traditional recordings that were in the public domain when he wrote Hoedown, and that was one of the ones he landed on. And it's a beautiful piece of music. It didn't sound like that when he was done with it, but one of many many versions of Bonaparte's Retreat, and I just love that. So he was from McGoffin County, and he would have been one of the maybe more traditional style of fiddlers. But just as a contrast to that, listen to Doc Roberts, and I'm at the end of the class. I'm going to send you all a little missive and just list a whole bunch of things to listen to, and I've been doing that all along. Doc Roberts was somebody who was very, very clean, beautiful, also great, beautiful sounding fiddler, less double stops, a little more studied sounding, and he was way influenced by the more sort of modern music. So just listen to this. So a lot of us, are really moved by the really kind of um, old-fashioned kind of sounds, and I am too, and I like the old crunchy stuff. But this is really kind of part of the tradition too, and there's kind of everything in the middle. Um, let me, well, I'll look for another recording while I'm playing you this one. But Another really, really clean, very highly respected fiddler was Clark Kessinger. And if anybody's ever been to Clifftop to the Fiddlers Convention, uh, the man that's run that thing since the first year, Bobby Taylor, learned to play the fiddle from uh, from Clark Kessinger, and it's also a very distinctive kind of style. I'll play you something that he recorded with during the popularity of brother duets in the 1920s. Um, Kessinger recorded with his cousin Lucas, but they referred to themselves as the Kessinger brothers because I guess it was cool. Um, but listen to, I'll play you. This is a, I'm not sure where this tune comes from. I've heard it before, but listen to his phrasing. Even if it's an old-fashioned tune, he phrases this like a bebop tune almost. It's marching through Georgia. Little phrases like that. Ba da 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 da. It's like he's singing. It's not like dance music. It's like something else. It was beautiful and virtuosic. I think it's just really cool. And a lot of us, kind of have been in the scene and go to the fiddlers conventions and play the top 10 hits that are circulating around. Don't tend to play stuff like this quite as much. We like uh, we like the more kind of down home, old fashioned music. Um, Clyde Davenport was a great fiddler who just passed away recently. He was 100 years old, and he played almost to the end. Um, but he played a lot of tunes that he learned from tradition, but he kind of made him his own. And some of us were lucky enough to meet him, and he was a real character. But I think his, if I was going to think of him, of somebody who really kind of represented the style for me just generally, him, John Morgan Salyer, Burnett and Rutherford, if you've heard them. Just take a listen to just a moment of Clyde playing. Let's see. I'll play him doing Betty Baker, which is a kind of a version of Rye Straw. If you know the tune Rye Straw, if you listen closely, you can hear that it really is that. And I'm playing it because the guitar player on this recording is Alice Gerard, who just did an amazing quarantine happy hour live Facebook thing last night. But this is Over the Hill to See Betty Baker. I don't know about you, but his fiddling really speaks to me. Um, I just want to play you one more example, and then we'll get to work. I've got three tunes picked out, and we'll see how far we get. I saw some eyebrows go up. Um, but stuff for us to work on. But uh, Ed Haley was considered to be really kind of the innovator, and even somebody who was as polished and proficient as Clark Kessinger looked up to Ed Haley. And Haley was, he was a street musician. He wouldn't travel. He was offered a recording contract, and he turned it down because they wouldn't pay him royalties. They only wanted to pay him a flat fee. And his family was very, very protective of the music until they were approached by John Hartford. There are about 75, I think, recordings of Haley that were made in the 40s on home recording equipment, and they're really rough. They were issued on Rounder Records in the 70s under the title Parkersburg Landing, which is the name of one of the tunes that he played. But John Hartford got hold of some of these recordings, and he kind of went crazy over Haley, and got in touch with the family. And of course, it turned out they were big fans of his and welcomed him in. And about 25 years ago, John showed up at Clifftop, and he'd given me he'd been given permission to make 100 cassettes of Haley's music and give them to people who he thought wouldn't take advantage of having them because they were being protective. And John gave me a copy of those things, and I went crazy. And John and I kind of developed a relationship, trying to talking a whole lot about how Haley might have played these tunes, and we never really did agree. But Haley took a lot of these old tunes and he added parts and just made virtuoso fiddling out of it. I just want to play you just one or two little clips just to give you an idea. I could go on and on about it, but I want to get to work here. This is one called Dunbar. Listen to speaking of the kind of modern influences that made their way into the music. Listen to all the triplets and kind of ragtimey sounding things in this. So we're really lucky to have that stuff from Haley, and it was all Hartford was responsible for putting out a 4 CD set of all the Haley material years ago for Rounder Records. It's out of print now, but you can find bits of it on YouTube, where you can find everything. And the way he organized it was some of the stuff was sonically unlistenable, so he just organized everything on each CD to be from the most listenable thing to the most unlistenable thing. And over the course of listening to each CD, your ears kind of adjust. But I thought it was kind of brilliant. Anyway, could go on and on about this. He did so many cool tunes. But I was kind of thinking that we just kind of start simple and go with this tune that was recorded by a kind of one-hit wonder, if there was such a thing, band called the Hack String Band. and it's called Wink the Other Eye. It's just a really fun little tune in G. Um, I'll play the original recording, and we can break it down. And for those of you who haven't had a workshop with me, I'll just give you the brief how we tear the tunes apart and put them back together. But here's Wink the Other Eye. See if you like it. How about that? Just fun little tune. Key of G, and you can decide whether the note that's the seventh degree in the scale is a F or an F sharp. I think it's very personal. So is everybody in tune to A440? Here's if you're old-fashioned, here's an A. And here's the tune. So two parts. Real straightforward. It's cute. I think it's cute. Um, and it's real kind of bouncy. And if you notice right away, the structure of the tune is really straightforward. The A part is first and third phrases are the same. Um, and if you listen further, you'll notice that uh, the second and fourth phrases of the B part are the same as the second and fourth phrases of the A part. So this is going to go really fast. All we have to do is learn a few phrases and glue them together, and make them from a science project into music, which we will. Uh, so listen to the A part, and then we'll break it down a phrase at a time, and just talk about phrasing a little bit. That's it. So there's one phrase. Same phrase again. And the tag. So in the key of G, I'm going to roll on up to the G, and just we can do call and response. And I know that I can't hear you, but just stop me if it's not clear, if I'm going too fast or slow or anything. I'm going to roll up to the G from the D, and just make your way up to the high G. And one more time. Is that clear as mud? Okay, I'll finish the phrase. So it's got that kind of walking, kind of lilty thing happening. Okay. One more time. Is that all right? Second phrase. And it hits that D a little early. Listen. That sounds like movie music to me. Play this. 1, 2, 3, and I'll cycle it. And then, so the whole phrase is this. Is that a good tempo? Once again. Then we go back to the first phrase again. So let's cycle the first two phrases. Stop me if you got any questions. So 1, 2, 3. Now first phrase again. Last phrase. So the last phrase is this. Or we can play. Let's keep it consistent. Play it like this. This isn't a tune where I would tear the bowing part too much, but there is a little pulse in there at the end. So backing it back a phrase, you get this. right, so that's all the kind of pieces and parts. Um, there's only one more phrase to learn to play the B part, actually. But here, listen to the A, and we can just cycle through this a few times. Everybody okay? Thumbs up? Yeah? Cool. All right. All right, here goes. 1, 2, 3. One more time. And listen to the B part. So the second and fourth phrases, once again, are the same as the A part. And now, the one phrase that we do have to learn, the first and the third are the same, is this. Um, and God help me, the second note, if you're more comfortable playing a straight F sharp or even just an F natural, that's fine. I like the note that's in the middle. I like the tension that's created. If you do the same thing enough times over and over and over again, you must have meant it. And so many of these old fiddlers do. And we could talk about intonation for a while, and I could play you examples of fiddlers whose music is really powerful because of how they manipulate the tonality. But anyway, here's that first and third phrase of the second part. Is that making sense? And here it is in context. And a couple of pickups to get back into the second B. So just B, D, and back up to the downbeat on the G. And pickups. Once again. How's that going? Any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, yeah.
The second F sharp, are you still playing that with the funky intonation, or are you
Yeah, I'm
going normalish?
uh Oh, that second F sharp.
Yeah.
I'm playing it more like a F sharp, F sharp,
Okay.
like a
Just
15
curious.
or yeah, the normal, whatever normal is.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Anything else? Should we go from the top? Played it through a couple of times. The only thing I'd say about the bowing on this is it's not so much a matter of what direction you pull the bow in, but it's which notes that you want to kind of accent. And I think some of what makes a tune like this cool is how kind of intentional some notes are and how smooth others are. So when I get to this, when I slide up to that B, I put a little muscle in that. And that's the once you get the melody in your head and just have any kind of comfortable, simple way to play it. That's when you can start to kind of make it speak. Anyway, let's go from the top. So, 1, 2, 3. I'll pick it up just a smidge. One more time. How'd that go? Feeling good? I didn't hear any wrong notes.
Bruce, I had a question.
Yeah, Jacob.
The second to last notes, like that double up bow that you're doing on the D string, can you talk about how you get that in the pocket?
That
Yeah.
you You got to, think about ba di da and da ba da, right? Just
Yeah.
and uh, I'm not slowing the bow down, and that's kind of the how a lot what people who have don't think about pulsing a bow. The first thing they want to do is kind of go like that, and that's not what it is. It's just a little bit of change in pressure or angle on the way up. So, if you just want to just take this as an exercise, right? I hope that helps. Cool. Anything else?
I have a quick question. Could you
Yeah.
not break down, or play a little slower the second phrase, or like that second phrase in the first part and in the B part? I'm missing a note, and
Okay.
I want to figure out what it is.
Okay.
Okay.
Does that solve it? Can you play it for me?
No, I was switching the open string with the third finger.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
switching those.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. Well, there you go. Wink the other eye. Um, another another of this long list of great fiddlers was a guy named Buddy Thomas, and he made some recordings. He Rounder Records put out. Rounder did a lot for a lot of these fiddlers in the early days, or in the middle of the folk revival. But they put an LP of Buddy Thomas out called Kitty Puss, which is the name of one of the tunes he played, and it's out of print, but you can find it all over YouTube. If you put in Buddy Thomas Kitty Puss, you'll find all the tracks. It wasn't that long of a recording, but it had some really beautiful fiddling on it. And I learned a tune called Yellow Barber from him, which was a fairly common tune in Eastern Kentucky, but he played a really beautiful version of that. And I thought I'd like to pull one apart that I've actually full disclosure, I've never taught this tune before, but I really love it, and so maybe I can teach it to myself at the same time I teach it to you. But let me play you a recording of him playing it. It's called Briar Picker Brown. This is Buddy Thomas. Buddy Thomas died at 39 years old in deep poverty, and had a very, very rough life. But his fiddling was just incredible. just kind of thought this would be a day for happy tunes. If we make it to the third one, it's a little darker. But Briar Pick or Brown? Key of D. I hate for anybody to ask me dead right off whether I like something I never heard before. Do you like it? Does it sound of interest? Cool. Listen to the structure of it. I just think that's really pretty. There's some really nice kind of phrasey things that he does in the beat part. But the structure is, it's the same sort of idea as the last tune we did. The first and third phrase being the same. Right. So here's the A part. We'll just kind of take the same approach. Here are the four phrases of the A part. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first and third are almost exactly the same. Second and fourth only differ in that one kind of resolves a little more. But so let's just take the first phrase. And it's got a nice little trill in there between the B and the D. And lands on the F sharp. And then so and if you want to pay a little attention to the bowing, I'm starting all these phrases down and ending them up. So I'm rolling up on a downstroke. Up, down, up. It's real simple bowing, just pretty much playing against the quarter, the length of a quarter note. Now, as I go back and listen through Buddy Thomas's playing, he played a lot of single notes, what they call saw strokes, and I might be playing half as many bow strokes as he did. You really have your choice in these things. You can play it like that just as well. Either way, try it again. 1, 2, 3. Second phrase, I'll break it in half, but here it is. And we can talk about the intonation of that trill, too. So starting on D, we'll play this. And then so the second half is Once again. And there's, once again, lots of ways to bow that. I'm playing what we call a shuffle. So it's just long, short, short, long, short, short. Or you can play it single strokes. Lands you going in the right direction at the end too. And we can revisit the bowing a little bit in a minute. But the second phrase, and then once again. And the trill in there. It's whatever you like. I like the one in the middle. It makes it bluesy to me. So here's the entire second phrase. So going from the top, it sounds like this. I'll take that a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3. And when I cycle back into it, I'm just going to play through the C sharp as a pickup. Now we're going to play the first phrase again. Here's the tag. Okay. And he really liked that nice double stop, and he put a little bit of a kind of a hillbilly vibrato on it. Okay, so the second half of the A part then would be this. So here it is from the top, and just jump in. One more time. How's that going for you? So far, so good. Any rough spots? Anything not clear? Like all those fiddlers, he really didn't play the same thing twice. Totally, but that's the very kind of, that's mostly how he played it. Okay, so the B part, listen. That's my favorite phrase of the whole tune. So first phrase, second, okay. And I think that what makes that second phrase really sweet is kind of how the bow moves in it. But we'll get there in a sec. But here's the first phrase. Starting on F sharp. And you can leave that F sharp clamped down because you're coming back right to it. So B and then A. And then so it's this. Maybe we can cycle that. Yeah. Second phrase starts the same thing, same way. And now. So that little pretty little bit is a trill. And I think just the fluidity of that first little thing makes it really distinctive to me, the trill into the open E note. No gravel in that at all. Once again. Okay. So here it is from the top of the B part. And if you cycle back into it again, you have to leave the pickups out. But we can cycle it. So let's play this. So first phrase again. Here's the tag. So starting from here, pickups. Right, once again. And finally, so backing that back up a phrase. Am I going too fast here? We all good? I hope that's what I told you to play. That's what I want you to play. Once again. Is that settling in? I feel like I'm railroading you a little bit. So. All right.
Could you go over the bowing briefly?
Yeah. I was just coming to that. Okay, so I'm rolling into on a down. This is all pretty much all downstroke fiddling too. We're leading all the phrases with a downstroke. So this is similar to how we did earlier. We're just playing down, up, down, up. Real straight. A lot of this Kentucky music, I don't know why, maybe because of the way it's phrased out, it seems to alternate between that straight back and forth bowing and then what we call the shuffle, which is what we'll do in the next bit. But this is kind of how I see it. That much, and then we're going to go to a shuffle pattern. So it's going to be long, short, short, long, short, short. So that once again you end up on the upstroke. So watch this. And then long, short, short, long, short, short. Shuffle. And we can cycle that. Think about your right hand. Now, same thing. And then to get that nice fluid phrasing, I'm just continuing that same bowing. It's real simple. Up, down, up, down, up. Just like this. Shuffle, then the straight bowing. Last phrase. I'm going back to the shuffle again. So down, up, and then shuffle. All the way through. Long, short, short, long, short, short. Here's the whole part. Shuffle. Okay, and the bowing is just all about articulating the phrasing in the tune. Shall we go from the top? I'll just keep playing it. You'll jump in when you're ready. Any questions or anything? Okay. I'm learning something too here. I'll take it right nice and slow to start. Feels like last week, doesn't it? Again. Can I pick it up? Here it comes. One more time. Great. You sound great. Going okay? Any questions or thoughts about that? All right. I mean, there's just so many great tunes. It's all the tip of the iceberg, you know. But a lot of people really respected Buddy Thomas's fiddling. Let me play your recording. This may be a really crazy idea to start a tune in an alternate tuning with 15 minutes left to go in the workshop. I'm willing to go a couple of minutes late, but we can maybe just listen to it and see if you're interested in getting as far as we can get with it. If not, I'm happy to record it and demo for you, but I just kind of like it when we all play. That's my favorite thing. Let me find it. This is the great fiddler Luther Strong, and he's playing in E minor, which is kind of basically the same thing as G, but he's playing in a tuning where the bottom string is tuned from a G down to an E, so the tune is E D A E. So just check this out. It's Glory in the Meeting House. Where'd you go? I lost you. Glory in the Meeting House. Ah, here we are. Isn't that incredible? Let's just get as far as we can with it. You into it? Yeah, great. Okay, so you're going to take and tune your G down 3 semitones to E. And the rest of it stays the same, right? just think that is a cool tune. Okay, we can immediately use some of our shuffle bowing in this. If there's time, I'd like to just show you a variation on that. But let's start with the melody. I like to keep the double stop down between the B and the E with my index finger, so that I can the melodies on the A string. I like to be able to drone that open, or drone that E below it. But if I add that double stop, I've got this. But let's just take the melody first, starting on B. And of course you got the open E above it too. So lots of kind of tonal possibilities there. I'll give you a little bit of cliff notes on the bowing. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Sometimes it's a more of a help to memorize how many notes in a slur. So it's 2, 3, 2, 3, and then whatever comes after that. And if we cycle it, then your first note ends up being anticipated. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. If you can get this bowing, then you kind of got the vibe of the tune. Next phrase. So and you finally get to ring that nice open low E. And just to prove to you that E minor is the same as G, never mind. So that's the second half of the short 8-part phrase. I hope that you'll come back to the recording that John is making, and just try to catch the bowing from that. I wish we had another hour. So here's the whole A part, or the first half of the A part, I'm sorry. The same form, first phrase again, and here's the last phrase. So it's got that same ending, but it just goes up high. pretty distinctive pattern. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da, ba-da-da-dee-ya, ba-da. Up, down, up, down, up. So you kind of get a feeling of 3. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-ba-da, ba-da-da-ba-da-ba. You know, not, don't make a polyrhythmic tune out of it, but it's a lot of that syncopation really drives a tune like this. So the accents are really on the upstrokes. Here, here, here. Uh. So here's the A part from the top. First phrase again. Once more. Okay. The second part is really short. Do you mind if I take you over 5 minutes or so? It's just, here it is. And it just repeats. So the first half, starting on E. And then it's the same ending we had before. The turkey and the straw in the wrong key. And you can play this in a straight shuffle. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Long stroke. Up, down, up. Second phrase just resolves. Play that again. So the whole part. And play it all as a shuffle if you like. If you want to wake it up a little bit. So here's an alternate bowing to it. This really is the Cliff Notes version, but we're getting through this. It's down, slur, down, slur, down, up, down, slur, down, up. There are 3 slurs and they're all in the upstrokes. So here, here, here. Either way is fine. or the other way. They're interchangeable. A couple more times, any way you want to. Here's the top. And again. B part. Back to the A. One more, I'll pick it up. There's so many deep dives we can take into things about the bowing and all that. I just want to play it full tilt for you one time. I mean, I play it my own way. I don't play it anything like Luther Strong played it, really. But to me, this is a tune like this is just something you can use to create rhythm in so many ways. It's your homework. It's just lots of places to go with that. I've been playing that a long time and I love it. We kind of covered a lot of ground. I hope we didn't skate too lightly over the top of it. Any thoughts or questions? I'll send you a
What's the
little.
name of that?
Oh, that's called Glory in the Meeting House.
Okay, thanks.
That's very beautiful.
Thank you. I love that tune. Thanks a lot. So, like all the other classes, I'll send you a little kind of a listening list and some just thoughts about things. I love hearing back from you if you feel like writing. Next week is the last in this series. I hope it's not the last forever because I'm really enjoying this. But I'm going to do one on singing with the fiddle, which is a big thing for me. I always wanted to sing with the fiddle since I first discovered I wanted to play it, and I think the fiddle is an extension of your voice. And so it might be a little bit different in the sense of I might do a little bit more demonstrating, but I also want to lead if you come to lead you through some just kind of exercises to lock your voice and the fiddle together, and kind of make them one thing. Not a lot of people accompany themselves in tradition, but for me, something that not too many people have done is to actually harmonize, and really kind of try to make the fiddle and the voice resonate together. And it's just a fun thing to do. So I'll lead you through some exercises, and I got a couple of songs picked out. I'll send the lyric sheets for anybody who wants to be part of that. And thank you, Old Town School. Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Yeah. And
Thank you. That was great.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Take care, and see you all soon, I hope.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.